So this is the current position, and now hesitating. Okay, actually, we did predict.
Yeah, the king has gone back to c1, and the rook is on h3. I think we'll see rook d3, which seems the most logical way to defend. Unless knight e2 is also an option, but why drop the knight back?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately here, he can't even drop the knight back because it would come at the cost of the e4 pawn. And suddenly things would really turn. White would be on the defense here. And okay, Magnus does go for your move, rook d3. How to get the black knight in? This is the issue. He gives a check. He's been yo-yoing back and forth with his black knight.
Yeah, but one thing that hasn't been yo-yoing is the evaluation bar, which so far is approving of the way Sarana is handling this. The king, I guess, will hide on b2. Or do you want to go back to the center?
Or if you hide in plain sight, you kind of tuck your king up in bed here on b2 where it can never be active.
I guess one of the problems if the king goes to b2 instead, can we not just keep checking?
Let's check that variation. This is a check. White's king has to keep protecting its c2 pawn. So yeah, I think you're right, Fiona. The king would step back.
Yeah.
Oh.
So let's hide the king on b2.
We checked that variation, and indeed the king has to hide on b2 if Magnus wants to win. This is a really critical moment as the clocks are ticking down. They're getting closer to move 40. I think what Magnus might do is just kind of repeat the position, bring his king forward, just kind of repeat two or three, not three times, that would be a draw, twice, and then he would go and look at his teammates, see how they're doing, because he can force a draw on Magnus Carlsen right now. But playing for a win is risky.
But we haven't figured out yet how black proceeds here. Is that just rook e1 hitting the e4 pawn?
Yeah, I think maybe hitting this e4 pawn twice. If it steps forward, then at the right moment now, black's bishop, I'm not sure about rook g1 immediately actually, but black's bishop can come to f3, break the connection on the third rank, and it would become a race. White losing the kingside.
The black knight would find a very nice outpost on f5 if e5 is ever played, with the king just having to step out of the way, and the knight could route via e7 to f5. I think we can see from Magnus's body language that he's not thrilled with his position.
Yeah, he will rue that.
We'll see knight f4 on the board, and is Magnus playing with fire here?
Feels that way. It feels like either a gamble or a total oversight, and there is this ongoing kind of joke that Magnus, he very rarely blunders, but when he does, it's always a knight move. And knight takes f4, it's a concrete variation. He spent a bit of time before retreating his rook to d2. I don't really see what he's got in mind. He cannot take this knight, it's poisoned. Is he just going to move his own knight, maybe force an exchange of minor pieces? I mean, it's
really dangerous now.
So strange to part with.
He didn't play it.
He didn't play it. Okay, Alexey Sarana choosing a very sensible move as well. You've got to say, attacking the g-pawn. Maybe if this move wasn't so tempting, then he would have gone for knight takes f4. What does Magnus intend to do? Is it knight to c3? Maybe hitting the bishop, hitting this pawn?
Yeah.
And now black has to choose between being passive and defending this pawn, or going for a race, just kind of putting the bishop on f3 and saying, you take me, I'll take you, and let's just gamble. Whose pawn is faster? B pawn.
Searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds chirping and I hear my name, grasping into life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah.
Yeah, I
delving
think
deep.
we'll leave the calculation until after the time control break, because this one there's going to be a lot to figure out. But we'll stick around for the next two moves, as Magnus' time also ticking down 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, two big moves ahead.
I wonder what he's considering.
I wonder what he's considering as well. I mean,
And
knight
there
takes-
he goes.
Yeah, we see it on the camera, knight takes b5. Yeah, he's pretty much said A, B, and C. He has to continue just taking pawns now, and Sarana's move automatic. This is a nice situation to be in when you have pretty much a forced move or an only move just before move 40.
It's a nice situation, but he's taking a bit of time. But there goes rook takes g3 on the board. And now Magnus, one move left to make 1:40. I was talking about knight d6, but f5,
Wow.
the immediate
And
move by Magnus.
I say it was an only move, rook takes g3. The evaluation bar, the computer hates it. I'm not sure what it wanted instead, but suddenly let's try and work out what is happening here. Black's knight attacked, of course. There's two logical moves. You either, or two kind of natural moves, you take on e5, or you take this pawn. And Magnus, he's made that magical move 40, and he gets up, rather proud of himself, you've got to say. Pawn takes pawn. The idea is now, I guess, a knight check, and Black's king in some huge trouble. Actually, this is decisive. If the king moves, then it will either walk into a fork, or it will walk into knight takes f5 anyway, with two threats, rook d8 mate and knight takes rook. Has Magnus tricked his opponent on move 40?
I think so. I think knight takes f4 was a big miss by Sarana just a few moves ago. And did Sarana make them?
Sarana did play knight takes e5. We see it on the live board there. The analysis board will catch up. And yeah, what is the follow-up? This is what I'm trying to understand right now. Do you take this pawn? Do you try to trap the black king even with? Is this a mating net, Fiona? Pawn to f6. I'm threatening mate in 2 now. Knight c7.
This looks terrifying. What
Wow.
happens after knight?
Out of the blue.
Can I go knight e7?
Yeah.
Maybe I
knight
have
e7.
to.
Yeah, I think you do have to. Now you've got the d8 square for your king. I'm wondering whether I give you a check from this side, just forcing your king to f8. Otherwise I would have taken this pawn. Well, maybe you had to go the other way anyway. And now, where's the killer blow this time? Is it something flashy like knight to f5? Hitting the rook, forcing a capture, rook takes knight, and actually, despite the black pawns, it's white who's going to win this one, win the
And
rest.
Magnus does it again. I think he is on his way to winning this one. Sarana did such a great job throughout the game. Magnus had missed the chance earlier, and then we'll go on a break after that.
Yeah, it's following the paths we were predicting earlier. We expect Magnus now, after creating this mating net against the black king, we think he's going to give a check on d6, and this should give him a big advantage. He'll win the f7 pawn as well. And okay, Sarana on the defensive. Magnus there we see does deliver this check. Sorry, let's catch up with the game position. Knight d6 check, and yeah, this one I think he is going to win, but still a long way to go as long as black goes to d8 with the king. And yeah, either we continue here for 3 hours, never take a break, Fiona. Or
Let's
this
do
is the
it
perfect
now.
moment.
We'll go on a quick break. We'll see you guys in around 10 minutes, so don't go anywhere.